I'm done with you doing the same things over and over again and not getting the things that you want. But don't worry, I'm here, I'm gonna help you. And I'm not gonna tell you to just believe in yourself and get out of your comfort zone or to just take action, because that's not helpful advice. Because let me tell you a secret, it's not about doing. It's about being. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the clear step-by-step guide that will help you to shift your identity, reinvent yourself, and completely rebrand your life. You're getting the blueprint to becoming your dream self, because that's what I do here on this channel. You may think, who are you, lady on YouTube, to tell me how to reinvent myself? Well, I'm glad you asked. I have done a complete 180 in my life in my 30s. I literally became a new person. I was able to finally lose the weight that I actually kept holding on to for over a decade. I also finally quit my boring day job that I had for 5 years, and that was crushing my soul. And I didn't just leave my job, I actually left the country that I was living in for 7 years and moved abroad. I got engaged, I was able to make completely new friends in my mid-30s. I was able to start a complete new career in a field that I had not done before. And the way I was able to do all of these things was by implementing the following 6-step reinvention process that I'm going to share with you. So number 1 in that process is self-assessment. And the first part of self-assessment is that you want to reflect on your current situation. So you want to really think about what are the areas in your life that you are not happy with. Think about the areas of career, love, relationship, friendship, money, body, healthy habits, healthy lifestyle. And what are the areas that you're happy with and what are the areas that you're not so happy with? Where do you feel like you're not showing up as your best self? And then you want to identify areas for improvement. The best way to start is really to focus on maybe 1 or 2 core areas that you want to start with. So don't try to do everything at once, because that's not going to be possible for you. That's going to overwhelm you. So for me, it was my body, it was my weight, it was my eating habits, and it was my career. These were like the 2 areas where I was really unfulfilled and unhappy with, and where I really felt like I'm not being in alignment with my true self. And then the next step within your self-assessment, you want to determine your core values. Having values for yourself is really changing the way you're going to show up for yourself. And you might have never really thought about this, but what are your values for yourself? And if you're like unclear about this, I would suggest you journal about this, because you might not actually know. So for example, values could be, I value freedom, I value independence, I value kindness and love towards others, but also towards myself. I value self-respect, I value self-care, I value honesty with myself, I value self-discipline, I value self-love. In what areas do you not show up in alignment with those values? And especially in the areas that you want to start to reinvent, those 1 to 2 areas, what are your values in those areas? So for me, it was my body, it was my career. So what are the values for myself in those areas, and where do I feel like I did not show up in alignment with my values? And step number 2 in the 6-step reinvention process is to define your vision. So you want to start to create a clear vision of your ideal life, of your dream self. What does it feel like to waking up as that person? What does she look like? So for example, for myself, in terms of my weight, my body, and my eating habits, I thought about like, how do I want my dream self to show up? It's not just about, oh, this is what I want to look like in clothes, or, you know, like I'm saving like Pinterest pictures. I'm like, oh, this is what I want to look like. It needs to go deeper than that. It needs to be like, okay, like I want to be my best self. What habits does this person have? And I thought about, okay, what does she look like? What is her routines like? What is her morning routine like? What does she wake up? What does she eat? How does she eat? I literally envisioned that person. And step number 3, you're going to develop a reinvention blueprint. So people will tell you now that step, okay, you have your vision of who you want to be. Now you have to create goals and break those goals down into action steps. Yes, in order to reinvent yourself and becoming your dream self, you do need to take action. You cannot just think yourself into change. But I want you to focus on something else first before just taking a lot of action. I want you to think about becoming and then taking action from being that person. You take actions from channeling that version of yourself, because it's already inside you. If you want to lose 5 or 10 kilos, instead of just creating the action of having a diet plan, tracking your calories, doing workouts, eating less or eating more nutritious food, instead of doing that, you really want to think about, how does my slimmer self eat? What does she eat? And instead of just doing from the person that you are now, you are envisioning and channeling that version already that is just normally eating like that. It's just normal for her to not overeat. It's just normal for her to nourish herself with great food. It's just normal for her to have a treat here and there without feeling guilty about it. So it doesn't feel like a diet or something really strange that you're doing now, and it feels like a lot of work and that you have to push, because it's already naturally who you are. You are taking the action not from your current self's energy, but from the energy of being that person already. When you think about your slimmer self as an example, like how does she eat? Does she like eat standing up or walking around? Does she snack all the time, or does she sit down with her meal and enjoying her meal? What is your person doing? And then your reinvention blueprint has certain steps. So step number 1 is appearance. What does she look like? What is her style? What does she wear? What is her hair like? What is the vision that you have for yourself? How does she present herself? That's what reinvention is. You think about, I'm gonna be a different person. Your reinvented self is not who you are right now. It's an up-leveled version of who you are. And then number 2, you want to think about her routines. Like, what does she do on a daily basis? Does she have a morning routine? Like, what happens when she wakes up? What does she do in the evening? Does she have a self-care routine? Does she care about her body? Does she care about her skin health? This is not about perfection, okay? So don't give me like, oh, now I need to be perfect, and this is like overwhelming because I cannot do all these things perfectly. This is not about being perfect. This is about just having clarity of who you actually are becoming. Your dream self, your future self is not perfect either. That's not the goal here. The goal is that you are progressing and you're growing into the next level version of yourself. And then number 3 in your reinvention blueprint is mindset and beliefs. What do you believe about yourself as your dream self? I think you're great and you're amazing and that you're the luckiest girl alive. I have a whole video on that, like how to create that mindset of things just come effortlessly to me. Or do you think everything is hard, nothing works out for me? What is your default belief system? Like, does she look in the mirror and think like, oh, I'm hot? Or does she look in the mirror and think like, oh, my stomach, oh, my face, I look old? How does she talk about herself? Like, what is her core beliefs about herself? And then number 4 in the 6-step process is you want to create a timeline and you want to make it realistic. So don't think about, oh, I need to like lose 10 kilos in like 8 weeks. Like, that's not going to be realistic and that's also not sustainable. I think a good timeline is 6 months. Really like creating a change, really creating that mindset shift as well, because that's the trickiest part, is actually rewiring your brain to becoming that new version. And it needs a lot of repetition. It needs a lot of falling on your face before you actually then see proper progress. Okay, so it is a lot of failure. We fail forward. This is how babies learn to walk, is by falling. And then number 5 is letting go. This is where you really will start to shed your old identity, to shed your old self-concept of who you are. And this is the crucial part, because here you're letting go of your old self. And your old self will feel like this old hoodie that you have, or some old piece of clothing where you're like, oh, it doesn't look good anymore. It's maybe even a bit smelly and it's not that nice, but I just love it so much. But I also feel like I've outgrown it. Kind of feels a bit painful. You don't really want to let go of it because it also feels so familiar, but you also know you have to let go of it. You cannot keep on going the way you're going. And this is the part I'm telling you now where you have the most challenges. Notice when you're being your old self. It's all about self-awareness and understanding that you're observing and you're like, oh, I'm being my old self now. Oh, okay, I'm seeing this. And like really speaking it out. Like, oh no, we're not doing this anymore. This is not what my dream self is doing. This is my old self. And it really helps to clarify and to help your brain understand like, oh no, this is old behavior pattern. This is old programming. We're reprogramming now. We're becoming a new version. We're overriding the old software. Your lower brain doesn't want to change. Your lower brain is super happy with the person that you are right now because it is really comfortable, and for your lower brain it's a lot of stress to grow out of that version. Your lower brain just wants to be safe, and growth is not really safe for your lower brain. And then number 6, you want to build your dream environment. You really want to surround yourself with your people. You're not only up leveling yourself and reinventing yourself, you're also up leveling the people around you. Start to surround yourself with supportive, positive people that maybe are already a step further that you aspire to be like, that will push you to becoming that next level version of yourself. And sometimes it's important to let go of people where we feel like we cannot be our best self with. What environment will give you the best chance of becoming your dream self? What environment is supporting you the best in being that person now? And sometimes it means changing circle of friends. Sometimes it means just to up-level your environment inside your home where you spend a lot of time. Does she have a tidy desk? Does she have a nice bed that she makes in the morning? Is her room clean and tidy? Does she have dishes in the sink before she goes to bed? Or is she someone that just like wants to have a clean kitchen at night? You only want to think about this. Does she buy food that she knows she cannot control herself around and just keeps overeating or binging on? Or does she set herself up for success and maybe doesn't buy certain foods because she knows she cannot really control herself around that, and that's why she doesn't even have those foods at home? We'll always keep reinventing ourselves. We're never really stopping. We're always, when you have reached another level, you just get to the next level. And if you need some help with creating that vision of who you want to be and you're not quite clear about who that is, I have a journaling meditation for you down below. It's free and it will help you to create that future self version of yourself and really like journal about who is this person. And if you want more big sister advice and becoming your best self, then make sure to watch my videos of things that I regret about my 20s, because there's a lot.